Hi friends, it's Heather with Running with Scissors, and you saw in the opening what we're creating for this month. This is your It's in the Box May 2024 box number 43 tutorial. So let's see what's in the box. All right, so of course you're gonna have your instruction sheet, and when we're done, we'll replace this digital graphic with the finished photograph. So you guys know I always do that to only do one. We only do one of these, and then at the end we'll replace that picture with the actual one we do during the demo. And the instructions are very minimal this time around. You're going to want a box to mix your paint on, or your paper plate is fine, whichever you have handy. And you're going to need a pair of scissors. And then just 4 short steps to painting this, because this is just a laser sign. So very easy this time around. So you're going to have 4 wedges and a yellow sponge. Just set those aside for a moment. You're going to have a sawtooth hanger. This you can glue on at the very end if you would like, so you can hang this on the wall. It's really designed to be a leaner though, so that it would just sit on a shelf, a mantle, or a table or something like that, propped up against the wall. And you have a large cup of white, because we're going to need that to paint the backer board. We're going to paint our backer board white. And we're also going to paint the underside of some of our letters like a foundation coat of white, so that the colors will pop easier. You have a paint pod set of 6 colors here for the different colors you'll be using on this. And of course you have a glue. So let's get everything out of the box. And I'm just going to set my box aside. And I will paint right on my table cover. Now the first thing, yours is probably going to come wrapped. Of course mine doesn't. But you're going to, if it's wrapped, just go ahead and unwrap it. And then we're going to take all of this stuff off and just set it to the side. I'll just pop it up there. Now you can see my backer board is scored, and we score this so it's easier for you to place the letters straight. What we do is we do an outline of the actual letters, and then we inset the outline. So instead of outline, we inset, and then we just score it. So the idea behind insetting them is that that score mark hides underneath the actual letter. So the actual letter is just slightly bigger than the score line. So when you line it up, the score is hidden underneath, because you will still be able to see those score lines through your paint. So we're just going to grab our cup of white paint and our yellow sponge, and we're going to pop that yellow sponge into that paint. Now if you want to put that on your plate or your box, you can. I'm not going to. I'm just going to go right from the cup. And I'm going to put a thin coat of paint on my backer board. Remember, we're just going to wipe a thin coat of paint. Try to pick up all your bumper lines of paint there. You don't want any rows of unspread paint. So you can see my paint is very, very thin. So thin you can see the grain of my wood, and that's okay. That's how we're gonna leave it. It's gonna dry very quickly, and then we'll put another coat on it. All right, so while that's drying, I'm gonna just set it to the side. Now, I am going to put a coat of paint on anything that I'm painting yellow, orange, and green. I know it's a lot. But the white foundation, we'll just call it a foundation of paint. The white foundation will really make the color pop to the point where you'll only need 1 coat of paint. I'm going to paint my frame green, and green covers kind of hard, just like orange and yellow do. So by painting just this 1 coat, that's it, just this 1 thin coat, my orange and my green and my yellow paint will cover much better. And I most likely won't need a second coat of those colors. If I do, it would just be a second coat. Sometimes, you know, you need 3. All right, so there's my foundation of my frame. Now I'm also gonna do the word sunshine, the word sandcastle, and a couple of the letters that are in summer, like both of the M's and the R. And then I'm going to do the sun. So if yours came in a frame like this, which Melissa probably will send it in a frame, you're just gonna gently pop all of these letters out. If any of them get hung up, like they don't wanna pop out easily, just flip it over, and you might have to run like maybe like an X-Acto knife blade along them, because a piece of the wood might not have cut all the way with the laser. And you don't want to force it because you don't want to bust your letters. But usually they're just hanging on by a tiny little bit. Mine are all popping out very easily. I say that, and I'll probably get to one that doesn't want to, but so far, no problem. This one out. Make sure you're extra gentle with the sandcastles if that got stuck at all, because that one is gonna be pretty fragile. Probably the most fragile piece in this whole thing. And there's mine popped out. And I just got this one. That's gonna give me problems. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Can you see the top of the E and the top of the S right there? The laser just missed. I don't know why the laser beam missed, but we're gonna pop that out real quick. So I just have this dollar store X-Acto blade, and then all I'm gonna do is run the knife along that score mark there. Well, it's not a score mark, but it just takes just a little bit, and that will be enough to pop it out, just like that. So this is just junk. This is just how it cuts out of the laser, and then it's sometimes easier to wrap them. So if you have this piece, it was just easier for her to wrap like this. But if you don't have this piece, then you don't have anything to worry about. I'm gonna throw that to the side because we are not going to use it. All right, so let's grab what I am gonna do a foundation of white on, which again, both M's and the R. The whole word sunshine. Because it's being painted yellow. And the word sandcastle. All right, I think that's it. MMR, sunshine, sandcastle. Oh, the sun. We gotta do the sun. And let's do the little insides of the bee stripes. Okay. So once again, I'm just gonna use my yellow sponge because that's a sponge that I have white loaded on. And I'm just gonna do just a really thin coat of white. All right, so there is a foundation on all of the things that are going to be painted yellow, orange, or green. And now I'm gonna bring my backer board back, and I'm going to put another coat of paint on my backer board. And you may notice I didn't go all the way to the edges, and the reason why I didn't do that is because, remember, we're going to be putting a frame on this, So the frame will go to the edges, so I really don't have to. I'm gonna let that dry because it may need a third coat, but I'm not sure. So let's just let it dry and let's see how it plays out. All right, so now if you have painter's tape, blue or the tan colored painter's tape, you might wanna grab that. If not, don't worry about it. All right, so in order to most efficiently paint my pieces, I'm going to organize them by color. I'm gonna take a piece of painter's tape and I'm just gonna fold the ends over and I'm gonna stick it down to my table. I'll probably end up having to do a couple of these. I'm gonna organize things by color. So anything I'm gonna paint orange, I'm gonna put on first. I'm gonna put my word sandcastle this way because I don't want the majority of it stuck to the tape because it's going to be fragile and the tape is sticky and I don't want to have to worry about it breaking when I pull it off. The center of my sun is orange. My letter R is orange. All right, so then I'm going to put on yellow next. My word sunshine is yellow. And my B's, my B middles are yellow. My sun is yellow, the outside of my sun ring, and my M is yellow. All right, I'm out of room for I got my orange and my yellow. Next, I'm going to put up another piece. And I'll load up my next color. Let's just do the blue. Again, same thing with my beach. It's pretty fragile, so I don't want to put that whole entire thing on the tape. Got a little indent in my table there, so I'm going to skip that spot. It's where my two tables meet. I'm going to put my word waves. All right, I got my clouds. My clouds are going to be blue. And then, of course, I've got my actual wave. And then I've got the insides of my bee wings. Save a little bit of space. Put them down there. And then the E to my summer. All right, and then let's see what else we got here. Well, I guess beach is pink, not blue. Not sure what I was thinking there. We'll move that around so we don't make that an accident. Okay, let's see what else we got. We just got randoms, I think. I made purple on the screen, and I'm going to make purple by combining my blue and my pink, just because I wanted a different color thrown in there. And let's see, we got our green is our seaside. So let's do this. We'll put this S down by the beach, because we know that's pink. And then we've got this seaside. And what do we got left here? I think that's it. We've got our B. We'll just throw our B over there because he's black. And then we've got the dot to our I, which I did that purple as well. So, all right. Now we can start painting because it's going to be a little bit easier now that everything is combined by color. All right. So now I'm just going to open my pods of paint. I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to cut each of my wedges down the middle. So I have 8 skinny wedges, because you don't need a big wedge. You might even want to cut them a little narrower or right in half. Okay. Let's go with our pink first, which is our S and our beach. And I'm going to use it straight out of my pod, but you can dump it out on paper plate if you want to. I'm going to load up my wedge, and then I'm just going to come pounce off on the table. And then this tape is going to help hold your piece in place while you pounce. And it also keeps all your colors together so you can stay on track. So now you can see they're not bouncing all over the place while I pounce my paint on. All right, everything's gonna need a second coat. I'm just gonna leave the wedge right next to the color. Now our M and our C side is green, which I didn't paint my C side white. You guys probably caught that, didn't you? You're like, what the hell is she doing? Let's give that C side a quick coat of white. We'll move on to a different color while that dries. Okay, we'll move on to a different color while we wait for that to dry. Our waves are blue. The wave, the clouds, the bee's wings, and the word waves. And our printer does print our color blue very dark. My apologies on that. We cannot change it. I'm not sure why it does that. It pretty much prints anything that's blue in one shade. But I assure you on the screen, it looked like sky. All right, there's our blue. Just gonna leave our blue there. We're gonna get our yellow going. The word sunshine and the letter M is yellow. How nice and bright that yellow is with that white foundation. It does need a second coat, but it covers much nicer with that white foundation. All right, we're gonna let that dry and we're gonna move on. We're gonna do orange. The word sandcastle, the center of the sun, and the letter R is orange. And that R is sitting right in the middle of my table divide. Orange is definitely gonna need another coat, probably more like 2. We'll see how the second coat goes on. Move over to our green now. And then we can't forget about our frame. We got to do our frame. And yep, we got to do the purple, but we're going to wait to the end to do the purple because we'll be mixing colors. So I'm just going to bring my frame over. And I'm just going to hold my frame because I'm kind of out of room. And I'm just going to swipe my paint on. And then I'm going to set that aside so it can dry. Now while we wait for that to dry, we're going to move on and we're going to put a second coat on everything. We'll put a coat on our bees real quick too, or on our bee. So that's the black. And we're gonna start where we started. I hope I can remember the order, but if not, it doesn't matter. I know we started with pink. All right, that's it for that. And now we gotta mix the purple up. So you can dump this out on your plate if you want to. I'm just gonna do it right on my table cover. And because I'm done with my colors, I don't care if I get a little bit of one color in the other. So I'm just gonna pull some out with my sponge. And I'm just gonna use the same sponge and grab. You don't need very much. That's perfect. All right. It probably won't even need a second coat, but we'll go ahead and let it dry. And while that's drying, we're gonna come over and give our frame the second coat of green. And we're gonna have a look at our backer board to see if it needs a third coat. I don't think it does, but we will just double check. There's our frame. Make sure that we got that all covered. All right, we'll set that aside. Now I'm gonna clean up my hands because I'm pretty much at the end of what I have to do. I have to make the dot in my flower, the center of my flower. Let's throw one more coat of purple on there. I think it was all right, but okay. All right, I'm gonna clean up and we'll be right back. Okay, so my backer board is fine. It doesn't need another coat. If yours does, go ahead and give it one. I've picked up my tape pieces and I've just slid them to the side. You can see over here that they are all still stuck to the tape. I just picked my tape up and moved it over. And now I'm gonna take my glue and I'm gonna go ahead and put my frame on first here, just to get that set in place. And I'm just going to run a line of glue through the middle all the way around. You don't need that much glue, so don't squeeze hard, just a little squeeze will do. And flip it over and set it into place. Let's check your edges real quick before you put any pressure down. Once you know it's on there square, go ahead and put some pressure on it. Make sure your hands are clean. I did just clean my hands, but then I see that I didn't get all my paint off and I'm getting it on my frame over here. If you got a baby wipe handy, baby wipe will help with that. Or, of course, I don't, because why would I have a baby wipe handy? Okay. So now we're gonna start, I'm first gonna put all of my pieces on and then I will worry about gluing them down. We still have to dot the center of our eye. So we will get to that part. I'm just tearing the pieces off of the tape one by one, just gently. Gotta dot this guy. Let's just set him to the side. This is the center to my sun. Once again, I'm not gonna drop that in right yet. All right, so we have to dot the middle of our sun, or the dot to our eye. I'm just grabbing, this was one of what I used for my pink, and I just cut it a little bit more, and I'm just going to pinch it so it's smaller, and I'm gonna get a little bit of paint on it. And I'm just gonna come in and dot the eye. Now you can also do this with the wrong end of a paintbrush. You can do it with a pencil eraser, like on a pencil. We have no erasers left in the studio because everybody uses the pencil erasers for paint. I'm just going very slowly around the outside edges with, let's see what I'm doing. I've got it squeezed real tight and I'm just going around the outside edges. Getting close. And then we'll just set that aside, and by the time we're ready to glue it, it should be all the way dry. All right, so just pick your pieces up one at a time. I apologize if at any point this gets out of frame. I will try to keep it there as best I can, but sometimes I have to scooch it a little closer to me so I can see it. So you don't have to have glue on every single part, but if you just spread it out so some, you know, areas throughout get a little bit of glue on them, that's great. All right, we gotta put our eye dot on. And now the center of your sun only goes in one way, so hold on to it just by the edges and twist it till you get it, and then put some glue in there and then just drop it in. And we've got to do the bee. You can just put the tip of your glue nozzle right inside the wells and drop a little bit of glue in there. And then you can drop your bee pieces in. Just like that. And we should be all glued, but let's just double check before we pick it up, tip it over, and have stuff fall out. Don't want that to happen. Okay. So then we're gonna just take the sawtooth hanger if you want, run a line of glue down that, and then flip it over, and you'll put it just up here. Just find the middle by eyeballing it and glue it down. Perfect. Okay. And there you have your fun, colorful summer. We call this subway art. And so this is our subway summer art piece. All right, I hope you enjoyed this month's It's in the Box. We'll see you next month.